Okay, you guys, we're going to talk about the wedding couple. It's a little Moorhead print, and I think it's a 4 by 5. It's either 3 by 5 or 4 by 5. It's print number 300. This is the cutting guide for this print. It's numbered from 1 to 21. I did cut a couple of extra pieces. I connected 11 and 12 together. The thing you need to remember about a cutting guide, it is a suggestion of how you cut the printout. Anytime that you feel you need to modify that, please do so. You see that this is numbered as print 2. For us, this will be print 1 because we are not going to dry mount a print. We are going to mount these on some wooden plaques or in some wooden frames on mat board. So we are not going to have one that's dry mounted. So we're still going to give you 5 prints because there is some extra detail that is not addressed in the cutting guide. For instance, okay, let me do this. For instance, the loops, the top loops on her bouquet are not addressed in the cutting guide. So those aren't cut out separately. That's one of the items that you may want to add additional detail. Also, the button on the jacket and the little flaps that are part of his jacket, which is where the pocket is, those are not cut out separately. There could be a number of things that you would like to add. Plus, I put 2 layers of hair on him instead of 1, which is what the cutting guide calls for, because I thought he needed more hair. So I have all of my pieces laid out here from 1 to 20. Number 1 is this piece, okay, which is your main piece. And that is the piece that is going to be the base. Now I cut him out. I actually cut out this little top piece of lace on her wedding dress, which is also not addressed in the cutting guide. So feel free to modify the guide, but make sure that you get all of your pieces that are numbered in prints 1 through 4, and then print 5 is your extra print for you to do additional embellishment, or if you want to do multiple layers of the flowers on her headpiece or on her bouquet, or anything that you feel needs additional detail. Now this is piece number 1, which is this piece. And I have cut out the parts that it shows on the cutting guide are cut out. So the little flowers in the bouquet, this is his hand holding her shoulder, this is his boutonniere. Those are all cut out of the base. So, and then I cut those out, plus I cut out the top piece of the lace on her wedding dress. So after I cut it out, I put glue on the back. Well, I colored my edges first, where the edges were not white. And then I put glue on the back and I shaped the piece. Then I wired the piece. Now as you notice, there's 2 different colors of wire. His on this size, his little cane is too small for this gauge wire. So I used some 32 gauge white wire just where that is. You will be able to use all of the green wire on yours because it's larger. So once I got my wire attached and let it dry, then I came back and bent these guys in between them because they look like they're kind of looking at one another. So now if you look at this edge, you can see that my piece number 1 is not flat. And then I've shaped her dress so that there's some roundness to that. I've pulled her veil piece forward and then shaped it backwards. And then I have rounded his head so that it's a little bit rounded. And I have pushed the center of his body out, and then you can push it back a little bit. You can bend this foot forward a little bit because wiring it allows you to manipulate the paper before you start gluing on all the additional pieces so that your piece has shape to it before you start adding things. And you'll find you don't need as many layers to build mass, and you also don't need a lot of support behind it, because you've got support on the piece, and that will allow you to have support. So when we put these guys down on something, you'll notice that they're already not a flat piece. They already have shape to them. So what I want you to do now is to take all of your pieces I'm sorry, take all of your prints and cut out the pieces per the cutting guide 1 through 4 or 2 through 5 as these are numbered. And then I want you to color your edges. So if you'll notice, these pieces have already been shaped. They're not flat. They have a shape to them. And anything that is an edge that is not going to be either covered up, which this one is, or overlapped by something, you need to color the edges and shape them. So if you can see, his little pants are already shaped. His legs have a little bit of roundness to them. So when I go to put this piece down, I already have some body mass that's built. And because it's overcut, I can match it with the piece underneath it so that I get a good alignment. So where this goes up onto her dress, we're going to have to bend this piece up a little bit to allow us to snug that in so her dress will fit. So what I want you to do now, and I'm going to pause the video while you do this, I want you to cut out the pieces that are numbered on your cutting guide. I want you to color your edges. I want you to glue them and shape them. And then we'll come back and talk about assembly of this piece. Okay, go get them.